What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I have a roadside special for you guys. I just picked up this 2007 fx35 for $1,000. It is misfiring very bad. I just put a new battery in it and I'm gonna try to see if I can fix it so that I can drive it home. A tow to my house, it's around $250. So if I can save that and fix the car at the same time, I'm all for it. So that's what we're gonna try to do. I'm gonna take the engine cover off and just take a look at those coil packs, maybe take out a few of them and see how they look. All right, so I did do a few things off camera. So what I mainly did was take off the intake tube there, and I did find that there was two coil packs that were pretty blown out on the side. I have seen this problem before, and I figured there was going to be another two on this side that were also bad. And yes, what I did find is this coil pack and this cylinder right here is bad, and the one in the back as well. People will try to replace these coil packs and say, you know, that's going to fix a problem, but 9 times out of 10 from what I've seen is when that happens, specifically on, you know, bank 1 and bank 6, or bank 2, bank 6, bank 1 and bank 5, I believe. What ends up happening there is the ECU is shorting out and is causing these coil packs to stay on constantly. So I have a feeling that on the way home, or at least on the drive home, I feel like these coil packs might burn out again, but only time will tell. So I'm gonna replace the last coil pack and see if I can make it home. All right, so replacing all those 4 coil packs did fix the main issue, which was that really bad misfire. It still has a few issues here, starting to kind of idle a little bit rough. I'm gonna drive it home, check for codes, and see what I find. So far everything is going good. The vehicle is running and driving as it should. I'm about 30 minutes away still from home, but the coil packs haven't burnt up again, so fingers crossed that that ECU is actually good. Like I said, when I have encountered multiple coil packs that are bad, that's usually not a good sign, because that means something caused them all to fail at a random, random time. There was only 2 coil packs that were still good on this vehicle, so it was running only on 2 of them. But normally when the ECU is bad, it would have already burnt up those coil packs. Usually it happens pretty quickly, so only time will tell. I will have to put some mileage on this car just to test it out before I sell it, because that's probably what's gonna happen. It is a very good car and it looks pretty good as far as the paint goes, but I have a goal in mind, and I think I want to buy another house, so I will try to save up the money for that. So I can't keep every car that I have. I already have plenty of cars, and this is a good flip in my opinion. A few days later, after the coil pack repair that I did to this vehicle on the side of the road, the vehicle started misfiring again, and this time it blew all of these coil packs on this bank, and I think 2 over there. So it was just running on 1 cylinder, which it wasn't really, because it turned off. This is what's left of this coil pack right here. I did put another one, but since, like I said, I've seen this issue before, and usually what ends up fixing it is a new ECU. So I did program a new ECU to this vehicle, and I'm gonna replace these coil packs again. Hopefully they don't blow again. All right, guys, so it's been a few days that I've had this 2007 fx35, and I've put about 60 miles on it. But as I was pulling up to my neighborhood, the vehicle started misfiring, and eventually it turned off. So you guys remember when I said that this problem with the coil packs, when you have multiple coil pack failure, is usually not a good sign. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna check all the grounds on the body that go to the harness here for the engine, and see if there's any corrosion. I can already see kind of some corrosion here on the negative terminal. The strange thing to me is the vehicle, I mean, before it was turning on fine, so it didn't really make sense why, you know, it would have a bad ground if it would, you know, still turn on. But it is possible that that could cause this issue, aside from the fact that the ECU can also be the main problem too. So I'm gonna check the grounds first. If those grounds look good, and there's nothing else that I can see, I'm gonna have to change the ECU, because that can also be causing this problem. So I'm gonna take off these grounds right here, these two grounds. These are for the transmission, and I think some of them are also for the coil packs. There's another ground over here. There's a main body ground right under there. Negative terminal is also right there. So like I said, I'm gonna just quickly check everything, replace bolts if they look corroded, because there is a TSB regarding this issue. So I'm gonna follow that TSB and see if I can fix this problem without replacing the ECU. I'm also gonna scratch off the paint here on the ground, because the way these grounds work is they use the bolts to ground out, because inside it's not painted, but on the body it is. So I'm gonna grind down a few areas here just so that it can give better ground, and I'm gonna do that to the rest of them as well. I cleaned these ground wires right here. They do look corroded above right here on these wires, so I might have to go back there and clean that up. Where the main ground is for the engine is kind of in these two locations, so I'm gonna grind this down with a grinder and put that back on. From what I understand, I shouldn't be getting any high voltage on these coil packs when the vehicle is off. The ECU should ground the coil packs to stop, you know, the signal going to them, but if there's not proper ground, that could be explaining why they're staying on. So that's why I'm kind of tracking down all the ground wire. So it's the next day, and what I have here is a replacement ECU that I'm going to be installing on the fx35. I did drive the vehicle another 60 miles yesterday, and it did drive fine, but I don't want a chance blowing another set of coil packs. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this as preventative maintenance, in a way, I guess you can say. Another reason why I'm also changing the ECU is because I currently have a P0037, which is a O2 sensor circuit issue. I've already changed that O2 sensor and the code doesn't go away. So there is something going on with this vehicle, and I'm thinking it's the ECU that's, you know, messing things up. And after looking on forums and whatnot, other people described similar issues when they have a bad ECU. So everything's kind of pointing to this guy right here, which is why I'm doing this. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the old one, install this one, and program the key to this vehicle, and see how it performs once I swap that over. What I'm using to program the key is my X-Tool D9. I've used this tool quite a bit and it works pretty good. There is some things that I wish were different, but for the most part it gets the job done. I'll go to automatic identification. It's gonna scan the vehicle, match the proper protocol for this car. We're gonna go to program keys, and yes, this will delete all the keys. This is the pin for it. It's gonna bypass it. All right, so we'll press yes, bypass the pin. Now it's gonna tell me to insert and take out the key, and do the same thing for the remaining keys that I'm gonna be programming. All right guys, it has been a week that I've had this car, and in that time it has been pretty eventful, but let me give you guys a quick rundown of what I did to fix this vehicle. So as you guys recall, when I purchased it, it had 4 bad coil packs that were blistered up and pretty much they were shorted out. So normally when that happens, like I said in that video or in the beginning of the video, usually what happens is the ECU is shorted out itself and is continuing to short out the coil packs. The reason that happens is because you have bad grounding on your car. So this vehicle did have a few bad grounds that I had to clean up and kind of sand away at the metal to give it proper grounding. I didn't actually replace the ground wires themselves because they were still showing good continuity. It was just that the surfaces were dirty, and I did replace the bolts that were holding down the grounds. That fixed that problem with the grounding issue. The other problem, like I said, is I had to replace the ECU, because when that all happens, it shorts out the ECU, and then, you know, you think that you're gonna get the problem fixed by just replacing those ground wires. In reality, that's not gonna fix it completely. You have to replace the ECU because, like I said, it messes it up. And on this vehicle, I had a O2 sensor code. I changed the O2 sensor. with a known good O2 sensor, and the code came back immediately. So that's kind of how I knew the ECU was no good. In the past, I've had a similar issue, and I think I was getting a mass airflow sensor circuit code, and I tried multiple mass airflow sensors, the code wouldn't go away. So then in that case, that's how I realized that the ECU was bad. Similar, I guess, to what I had on this car with the O2 sensor. So yeah, it took me a little bit of trial and error to finally get it fixed, because I did have to drive it quite a bit. But here are some of the parts that I took out. I ended up taking out the ECU. I ended up getting 3 ECUs actually, because I couldn't find the exact one for this car, and it still doesn't really have the exact one that it needs. This vehicle is not all-wheel drive, and it's just rear-wheel drive, so the ECU that it has is an all-wheel drive ECU. I was able to program it and everything, flash the key to it, and it works and everything. But I do have a U1000, which is a communication error, I'm assuming, with the transfer case. I think that's why it's on. It's not going to cause an issue, and it's not going to be an issue passing emissions. I already went and took care of that right now. So I've put maybe 300 miles on this vehicle up to now, and yeah, you know, it took a bit to get it figured out, but I'm glad I was able to fix it and get it back on the road. These are some of the parts that I took out. All these coil packs in here are bad. They're all blistered up and damaged. Sadly, you know, this can get pretty expensive, and you know, if it was somebody else, imagine, you know, paying for all these coil packs. They're not cheap, you know, so they can definitely add up, and it wasn't cheap for me either. But hey, I'm glad I was able to get this vehicle back on the road. I am gonna post this vehicle up for sale. It is a great family car, and I would keep it for myself, but I already have another car that I use as the family vehicle, so this one really doesn't need to be in my life. So I am gonna post it up for sale and make some of that money and continue flipping cars. But yeah guys, I hope this video serves as some good information for those of you guys that might run into a similar issue. It's not very common, but it can happen, and I've seen it twice personally. This is the second example, and it's kind of documented on the forums if you look hard enough. I did replace the AC amplifier, or the current amplifier, which kind of gives the signal to the coil packs. It's a little module in the harness. That was not the problem, so I would probably not replace it unless it's corroded and, you know, has signs of wear. I think the one that I took out was still fine, and yeah, so normally, to summarize it, bad grounding, bad ECU. After I fixed those 2 things, the car had no more issues. I've already put like 100 miles on it since I fixed it, and it hasn't blown up any coil packs. I haven't got any check engine lights for any random misfires, so the car is fixed. If you guys did like what you guys saw, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.